Now I did get the question, first off, what this hose was, okay? Now what this hose was, somebody's seen it in the video. This is a water hose. You can see down in here, it's got your pressures. You fill it up with water, your tank, and you get your air pressure in there, you pressurize that, and that'll sit there. Now the importance of that is, it's for the summer, obviously fire, big fire deal. And they want you to be able to put out fires with that. Have we ever? I have once in, what skidder was that? That was the Timberjack 660D. We first got that out of Texas. And that's got a water tank up above on top of the cab. Oh, I just knocked this door open. On top of the cab. So you fill that up, you give it a little air pressure, and then you'll have water. So it was might have been the first job we were on with that skidder. I remember exactly where it was, Bass Lake Road. I pulled up and the chipper, little motor on the chipper was on fire. And there I needed some water, and that was the closest water we had. It wasn't outrageous fire, nothing. There was fire on top of the manifold. And that old flail, there's dust constantly up by that little motor. And it just builds up, builds up, builds up. So I whipped that out. It worked good. It put it out, obviously, but we never filled it up again after that. We just carry some water in the tool truck, usually, because we don't have a huge fire hazard. When it gets real dry in the spring, then you can have problems. But the only problem is you got to drain these tanks out in the winter, and your lines out, and what happens usually is like if you look, I don't know if you can tell, but there is water in these lines. There's nothing going on, no action here. But if you look, there's water in there. So what happens is when you get the real cold weather, it just cracks everything in there, and then they're kind of useless. But when it works, they're nice. And if you have a high fire problem, or a high, you're dry and warm, they're real nice to have out in the woods, because you don't want to start no forest fires neither. We put one out a couple years ago. It wasn't that bad, but the buncher hit some rocks and busted a tooth off. And when he busted that tooth off, it flew out into the woods, and so he come up to the landing, and I didn't have no trucks at the time, so I'm helping him put the teeth on. With just like 2 teeth busted off, and I smell something. Now, when you work out here in the woods and you have a fire, your nose picks it up real quick, because I had a skidder catch on fire one time, and it wasn't no fun, and forever that's in my nose, the fire hazard. So you smell that, you know instantly something's wrong, and he changed his teeth. I smell something. I look over top of his truck and just see smoke. And I thought, oh no. So we took off. I took off running. We got over there, and by then it was probably 15 by 15, and it was just kind of growing. And the flames were nothing but like this, so we stomped them all out, and we were just down the road from our shop. Called them, and they brought some water out real quick, and we got it out. But it was one of those warm, hot springtime when all those leaves are ready to burn. And boy, that was fires are no fun. So little things like that down there can be really nice to have. So I did have like one complaint on the last video I made with this thing, and it was legit, because I just had the camera was like pointed up there. Well, then when it's pointed up there, you don't get a good view of what's going on. So we'll get this thing warmed up and get this steering wheel where we want her. Right there looks good. And we'll go for a little ride. and we're all ready to rock. So we'll get her warmed up here real quick, kick on some jams, and take off. So what has he got here? Oh, no memory. We'll go for a ride in the old cat. Now the controls are pretty simple on this. This is your joystick here. Let's go here first. Here's your parking brake. That's a transmission thing. Lock your... don't worry about that. I don't feel like explaining that right now. This is to unlock your hydraulics. Now they're unlocked so I can actually move stuff. This is in case my seat pops up. If I pop up out of my seat, you hit that big stump and whoa, the hydraulics will kick off. And if you push that button, then they won't. So once you have to reset that. Here's your lights all the way around, front and back. Separate buttons, that's nice. And here's your diff lock for your front axle, rear axle. Here's your blade up and down out there. Now she's up. And here's your winch, forward back, which is back here. That pulls your cable in and out. So, and there's your little screen there. Nothing spectacular. It's nothing too fancy. It's got 606 hours on it, almost 607. And you can kind of go through your different stuff here. You can go through all your anything you want to go through. You can go check out. So that's just a few of them. Your filters are okay. Your battery volt's at 28. That's good, So, and then this is your shifter here. That's your up and down with your gears. And then forward, you push that like that. Neutral's in the middle. And there's reverse. So, let's go for a ride. Okay, here we go. Let's go for a little ride. Paul said he's got a little patch opened up back here. Whoa. Hello. I'll try to move my head slow so it doesn't drive you crazy. A little pile of bark you had hidden there on me. Go back and find out. There's two units on this cut. There's a front unit and then there's a back unit. And the back unit's back here, imagine that. So it's a little longer skid to the back unit, so we'll try to get back there, get a little bit of wood out. Oh, nope, I'm at the wrong area. Not bad. See? I don't have a clue what I'm doing. See, that thing's nice shifting on this, let me tell you. Once you figure it out, your forward and reverse, you don't get them backwards. It's really handy to have it right there on your hand. No pun intended. I don't know why, but I just keep running into those situations where stuff just comes out of my mouth and it's like, I don't know. Anyways, we'll sneak through over here. We'll go right over this bundle, crawl over this baby. Like patting for a dance. I see Paulie now, he's coming out of there. There you are, you little rascal. No, we're on the right path there. Chipper guy there ain't the smartest tool in the tool truck, that's for sure. He's gonna freak out because I'm gonna get in his way. I see a hole. He's gonna get all mad because I'm in his way. Oh, hey, I'm out of your way, Paulie. I had one question too. How do the skidders work together? One skidder usually pulls from one area, the other skidder pulls from another area, and they kind of work their own areas themselves. The question was whether one pulled it closer and the other one pulled it to the chipper, or did they both work, go to the same area? let's say Paul will go back here and skid this area, and Josh will go skid on the first cut that goes way back here, and Paul will go way over here and skid this. And every job's different, and that's the fun thing about working this job is every job's different. I mean, this job's different than the last job we did, totally, and the job before that. So you're always doing something different. You're always seeing new ground. You're always seeing different timber. This timber's not as big as the last job, not as mature, but they wanted certain sections cut for whatever the reason is. There can be multiple different reasons, but it's really enjoyable, but because every job's different. But let's say Paul goes and works over here and Josh works over there, and then they get together at night, and I ask him, well, what's left for wood? And Josh will say, well, I got a few loads over here, and Paul says, well, I got a few loads back there, so we got this many days of work left, and it makes it work out pretty good. That usually never happens, just FYI, because it is very hard to tell load counts from job to job, and the wood can add up differently, and it's hard to tell exact good true load counts, but you can get it pretty close. So they usually work separate areas, smaller jobs. They do different things, but one usually doesn't pull it closer for the next guy to pull up. That's not really what we've done. There has been in the past, say you have a nasty junk skidder, but you have a really good skidder and you have some really bad ground to go through. That good skidder will go to that bad ground area, get all that out of there for the green skidders. That's just how it works. Like I said, there's no real science to it all, and there's no set in stone as far as that either. So every job's different. We do different stuff all the time. It just depends on the job, on the ground, on what we're trying to do. So this is the second cut back here, and looks like Paul's got one bundle out of here. He's got popple for the next load. So when you come back to these areas, you got to decipher what's your popple, what's your hardwood, and how to get. You don't worry about this wood as much because it's right here in the front. It's not in your way. You want to get back there, okay? You want to start heading that way to get your long skids first. Now, when you got trucks here, you pull your close skids. I think I can sneak around this way. Yeah, I'll go back here. When you got trucks here, you want to get them trucks out of here as fast as you can. You don't want your trucks waiting on wood, chipper waiting on wood, because the distance they got to travel. So when that truck's here, you pull the closer wood, your easy wood, and like right now when there's no trucks here, it's where you head back in here in the no man's land, and you start pulling this wood because it takes you longer. There's a nice bundle of logs over here, and you can get this patch of wood out of here. It just helps everything go faster. You just want to focus on getting those trucks out of here as fast as possible. Ooh, hey, hold up. So come on, I'm not gonna lock you in. I'll just push my way out of it. My grapple's too far back. Let me reassess the situation here. There we go. That's a lot better. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas, baby. So they just kind of work different areas usually. Unless you get a real bad area, say you got some low ground, and it's supposed to rain tomorrow. They'll both hit that as hard as they can, try to clean it up. So, like I said, it all depends on every job, the situation, the weather, and everyone's different. Now, when you're dragging these out of here, let me tell you what, this is some nasty ground, nasty cradle knolls we call them back here. You're always paying attention to your bundle. You don't want that like hitting that. You see that birch tree standing right there? They obviously wanted all the birch left in this place. So when you're pulling this out, you don't want that tree to hit that birch tree, knock the bark off it or knock it over. So you're constantly making little bits of turns like that, a little wider here, a little wider there. And after you do it for a while, you don't have to look behind you usually. You automatically know exactly where it's going to be, how it's going to work. So I got my green light on. There's a little trigger on the back of this handle that locks your grapple together. It's constantly putting pressure on it. So we got that on right now. We don't want to lose any trees. She's a little spongy back here. So we'll take her slow and easy. It's supposed to get colder tonight, and it's supposed to be cold by the weekend. This will all freeze up through here real nice. And when you get into the other trick is, you like the view right there? How do I look? Is when you get these new machines, right? Like this new skidder here. One thing you learn is this thing's got brand new rubbers on it too. And it doesn't take but 1 or 2 rotations of these tires in ground like this, or just sand period, and it will make a 3-foot hole. So you're constantly worried about that. You don't want to spin these tires. You don't want to spin them because they'll dig a hole so fast. So fast. So just like that. Nothing to it. Now this is kind of tricky because with what's left, you gotta wiggle it through all these trees and not ruin the trees that are left standing. It ain't easy. Oh, the struggle's real, everybody. The struggle's real. So good. So far, so good. It hit that. That'll be just. It hit that white oak just a little bit. We'll be good. Some trees will get hit because when you're in a thinning like this front, you might just. There's nothing you can do. When they want those trees left, and you have to get those trees back there through here. It's just some of them that are getting marked up. So what you want to do is when, let's say you're out in the rest of the cut, you want to be extra careful not to bump any more. Okay, you're going to have a few bumps through here that knock the bark off them. You don't want to do any more out in the rest of the cuts. So keep that down as little as possible. But let me tell you what, I picked a glorious day to do this video because this job is horrible. The ground is just bad. I mean, there's holes everywhere, cradle knolls. And I did do a video on that a long time ago, I believe. And by long time ago, I mean like 8 months ago. Which is a long time, right? Oh. But Cat's got this seat. They redesigned the seats on these for this skidder. And it's pretty nice, let me tell you. As far as skidding goes, it's pretty nice. We'll see what old Josh is doing up here. He was cutting some logs. Tom was gone today, so Josh was just staying busy. I jumped in here and took off. figured I'd get a little bit of work done. The chipper's all ready to go. I can grease it, which I need to grease it. I'll do that. Charged the battery this morning. And here we go. You know what I'm gonna do? Josh always likes to drop my bundles where it's hard for me to get them when I'm chipping, and then he calls me a crybaby. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this bundle up here and drop it just where he can barely reach it, just so he gets to feel the struggle. Right about. He can reach that right there, but it ain't easy. Man, that's another thing about this. When you're pulling in between these, you got to be careful with all of this, because you get that blade anywhere in there, you got serious issues with that chipper. And so when you go pulling through here, you got to be paying attention. You don't want to get anywhere in any of that mess on that chipper. You'll make a hard day's work go long when you do that. So we were working on when I was running chipper, here's a story for you. When I was running the old flail, we were running those old John Deeres, and I was running it one day, and whenever somebody had a day off, you're always short some guy somewhere, and it usually always boiled down to the skidder guy, because back then somebody could fill in here or there, but it seems like whenever a skidder guy was gone, you just be down to one skidder guy. And some jobs it's really not a big deal. This job right now wouldn't be a big deal because you have all this close wood out there. But this time we needed some help. So we got a truck driver. His name was Dan. Now this was 5 years ago. Let's say 5 years ago. And old Dan, he comes pulling up in between the chipper and slasher there, and everybody wants to run a skidder. Everybody wants to get in a skidder and go for a ride. And yeah, it's like you can drive over all these trees and these bundles, and it'll go anywhere. Look at them big tires. Well, yeah, it can, but it can do a lot of damage pretty quick if you don't know what you're doing, and you can get into predicaments. Oh, well, yeah, baby. Yeah, I feel that. So what Dan did there is, when he pulled up to the slasher, he cranked it off to the right, and he was trying to drop the bundle closer to the slasher. He first of all turned the wrong direction, because when you turn to the right, the grapple swings around to the right, not to the left. It's not like a pickup with your center here, everything goes the same. So anyways, he drops it and pulls ahead, leaves. Well, no big deal. He backed up. I didn't know what was going on. I'm chipping away, and all of a sudden in that old chipper you can hear everything that's going on, because it's right behind you, and there ain't no nice cab, and you're hearing your chains banging and your motor's screaming and your knives are smacking. So I was chipping away. It wasn't 30 seconds later, and on that chipper the little motor is set up to run out of fuel first, and it just goes buzz. You know how that sounds. And I thought, what in the world just happened? I get out, low start. I said, what's the matter? He goes, I don't know, let me go over here. It looked like Dan might have hit something. On that old chipper, the fuel tank's on the opposite side. It's in between the chipper and slasher. It's on that side. And what had happened was, he dropped that bundle and turned to the right, and the front of his blade just cut that fitting right off, right at the tank. So I didn't have any fuel going up to that little motor. So it cut it right off. Somehow he got us, and he got so lucky to miss everything else. But we got her out of there, and there was one more. Luckily, Mormark does this every now and then for you. They come up with a good idea. There was another drop line in that tank, so we just switched the fittings, dropped another tank, put a cap on that other line, or a plug maybe. I'm not, yeah, a plug. And away we went. But this chipper set up a lot differently. The fuel tank's on your other side, but what you have on that side, that's where all your hydraulics are mostly. Your hydraulics are all running on that other side, on the in between the slasher and the chipper. So when this skidder goes in here, all those hydraulic lines run in there. So you just got to be real careful. Everybody thinks that you can just jump in them and take off and it's easy to run and you know what you're doing, and it's like driving a giant monster truck around, but there's a lot more that goes into it than just that. So anyways, I'll let you guys go now. My lower back's starting to hurt, you know. Not really, but it is just a little bit. And I don't want to get bored on everybody. So this is the operator's view from the cab. This is what you're dealing with. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe. If you enjoy it, just let me know, because I like to know when you all enjoy the videos. I don't like it when I make videos and everyone thinks that was the dumbest idea ever or something of that nature. So if you like it, just let me know. Hit the thumbs up. That way I can get a feel for what you guys are all looking for. So thanks so much for watching, everybody.